Greetings one and all from the second age of reason. Again, it's another episode of Cooking with Chris. Today's recipe is something different and special that I just kind of made it up, but I'm sure it has another name. Somebody I showed the idea to called it a Fritata y hueves con queso or something like that. So basically I have a taste for some eggs. I could just fry them in a pan. I could boil them up. I could do stuff to them. But you know, if you fry them in a pan with like butter or margarine or oil or something, that's more calories. So I'm going to make them a different way this time with none of that greasy oil stuff. So we're going to actually bake them in the oven. So here are the initial ingredients. There's no recipe book at this point. It's not in any recipe book at this point. The first thing is I have a pineapple. Well, why not? Then we have some cheese, shredded cheese, mashed potatoes, a flour tortilla, which I'll cook on a pizza pan, and then of course there's the 2 eggs and a little bit of lunch meat to put on there and add some extra protein and flavor. We have just preheated the oven to 350, and now we will get moving on putting this thing together and getting it in the oven in a few easy steps. Step number 1. I was worried about the eggs running off the tortilla. So that's why I had the idea of using some old used mashed potatoes. And so my strategy is to take the mashed potatoes and spread them around the edges, which will give it like a little wall, and it will keep the egg from running off. Now it also gives it some starch and substance so that it'll actually be more filling than just a plain old skinny flour tortilla. Making a nice little ridge around the edges. And there you have it, the potato ridge on the flour tortilla. The next step is to slice up the pineapple. And we'll just kind of... Why pineapple? Well, I just happen to have some here, and it cuts up pretty easily. There we go. And we'll just kind of put the pineapple around the edges for color and flavor and smell. You know, pineapple cooks pretty good. And then we will put the meat around the edges as well. In a way, it reminds me of a pizza, but somebody still said because it's a tortilla, it'll be browned really nicely. They're going to call it a frittata. So that is my take on it as of this point. Okay, now we have the main little ridges and everything. And the next step is going to be our 2 friendly eggs. And for the eggs, I'll put them on there and we'll start baking. You may ask, why don't you put the cheese on right away? Well, I'm just worried that the cheese will get too dry and crusty, so I'll put the cheese on at the halfway point, so it'll still stay like a nice soft cheese. Now, that's our raw frittata, and we put it in the oven at 350. There it is. We'll put it in there for 10 minutes at 350. At that point, you put the cheese on and it will go 10 more minutes. Now it's at the halfway point and we're going to add the cheese. You can see the egg is starting to turn white like it would if it was fried, but it's still pretty runny. That's why it needs at least another 10 minutes. But then you can also be generous with the cheese, because when you're from Wisconsin you can never have too much cheese. There, perfect. And now we put that back in the oven for about 10 or 15 more minutes. And now the frittata con queso is ready. Muy listo. And now it is complete. Let's see if we can get it off of here. Ah, isn't that beautiful? And it wouldn't be a frittata without a little hot sauce. Now that completes it. Let's give it a try. Me gusta mucho. It's very good. And that concludes la frittata con queso and hueves. Amazingly good. I think it needs a little more hot sauce. But you may want to put mustard on it or sour cream. Whatever you like with this. So, until later, we'll be seeing you.